Hello, I want to talk about coincidences and specifically why there aren't any in veterinary behavioural medicine. I've had a few emails and phone calls, another influx, from people saying that they've been prescribed medication from their vet for their dogs and it's failed. We've tried so many medications and none of them are working. Well, look, if you're expecting a pill to fix your dog's behaviour when you haven't provided your dog with what they need as a species every single day, taken the time to understand your dog as a species, see your dog's behaviour as disrupting your lifestyle, have no behaviour modification plan in place provided by your vet, and your vet hasn't provided you with an environmental management plan, then it's no wonder and it's no coincidence that the medication isn't working. Medication is specifically dispensed to help change your dog's emotional state, to help your dog's emotional state become a more positive one, which enables us to put into place a behaviour modification plan. That is, a training plan to help modify your dog's behaviour. For example, counter-conditioning your dog if they might be fearful of different things in the environment. Desensitising your dog if they are in conflict, distress or panic when you're leaving the house. Or even just teaching your dog simple alternative behaviours that are incompatible with the behaviours that they are performing, which are detrimental to their mental health and well-being. That's why we're using medication. So training alone oftentimes is not adequate to help change your dog's emotional state, and that is why medication is being dispensed. Now, it's important that veterinarians are dispensing medication with a behaviour modification plan and making sure that their environmental management plan is in place for that human so they can provide an optimal environment for their dog. But it's also important for that human to provide your dog with an understanding of basic manners and an understanding of being calm, promoting calm behaviour, getting them to settle on their mat, giving them mental stimulation, giving them things to do that they need as a dog, as a species. So if you're not providing that for your dog in the first place, then it's not a coincidence that your dog is going to be showing behavioural problems in the environment that your dog is living in, depending on that situation. Now, it's also not a coincidence that if you're not investing time in the behaviour modification plan and you're not investing time in changing your environment, optimising the environment for your dog, then it's no coincidence that you're not going to see success in anything to do with modifying your dog's behaviour. And it's also not a coincidence that all of these things that your dog demonstrate behaviour-wise can be related to the choices that you do make or you don't make for your dog. And what I mean by that is investing time, understanding that if your dog's performing behaviour that is detrimental to their mental health and well-being, if they're running up and down the fence line barking at anything that moves, they're exhausting themselves mentally, physically, putting themselves at risk for a traumatic orthopaedic injury. But also that's not a great way to expend mental energy. The choices you make to not guide your dog to a more conducive environment that promotes calm and provide your dog with something that is mentally stimulating from their point of view, that's no coincidence that your dog is going to perform that behaviour again. If your dog's performing that behaviour 5 times a day, for example, then that's 35 times a week, then that's around about 120 times a month, and that could be up to anywhere between 1,200 to 1,400 times a year. I mean, that's a lot of time for your dog to get good at that behaviour and rehearse it very effectively. But it also has a lot of repercussions on the neurochemistry, and that is another indication for medication, depending on the situation, the individual situation for your dog and what is neurochemically going on with your dog in that situation. Now, it's not a coincidence that over 10,500 years of genetically manipulating dogs to want to be with us, to prefer to be with us, to depend on us, to insert them into some synthetic lifestyle where we've completely taken away their ability to be their own species in their own right, to insert them into some grotesque type of Stockholm syndrome where they don't have any choice over the way they live their lives. I mean, there's It's no coincidence that our dogs are being prescribed more and more medication as time goes on. There's also a bigger question. Veterinarians, dog trainers, dog breeders, we all need to stand up and raise our own consciousness. And we need to be a guardian for our own dogs, because in that way we'll be protecting our own dogs from psychological and physical harm, but we'll also be passing that education on to humans that have a dog in their life. And not saying that veterinarians, dog trainers and dog breeders need to lead by example, that the buck stops with us. We have to be the first ones to stand up. But it doesn't mean that humans like you that have a dog in their life, it doesn't mean that you pass the buck to the veterinarian or the dog trainer or the dog back to the dog breeder. You're collectively responsible as well. Unless veterinarians, dog trainers, dog breeders and humans like you that have a dog in their life, unless we raise our consciousness and start acting as guardians for our dogs rather than owners, it's not a coincidence that we're going to be putting our dogs in even more calamitous situations with respect to their mental health and welfare. We'll talk again soon.